though they're few and far between, there are a handful of musical venues that played an irreplaceable role in the development of music. And for nearly a century, one of the most revered remains New York City's Village Vanguard. Located at 178 7th Avenue in Greenwich Village and opened in February of 1935, most are unaware that during its early years, the venue had a wide range of performance styles, mostly concentrating on folk music and beat poetry. In those days, the club was also known to have open discussions on issues of the day, have public paintings, and even stand-up comedy from time to time. And in the 1940s, it became one of the hotbeds for late-night jam sessions as the jazz movement began to develop and grow. In fact, the Village Vanguard was one of the first venues to make jazz performers a top billing act, and everyone from Lester Young to Ben Webster to Roy Eldridge played memorable sets there. In around 1957, the club turned to an almost exclusively jazz format in terms of booking, and names like Miles Davis, Charles Mingus, and John Coltrane all recorded legendary sets, many of which were released as official albums. Along with this, history attributes the persistence of club owner Max Gordon's wife Lorraine to the existence and fame of none other than Thelonious Monk. Like many of the acts in the late 1940s at the Vanguard, he was relatively unknown, and there really wasn't much of a positive reception to his music at the time. Yet over the months and years, the club continued to book him time and time again, and eventually the rest of the world caught up with the genius that she'd seen so long before. While countless musical trends came and went throughout the next few decades, almost every one of the original jazz clubs in New York City either changed its formats or closed its doors. And yet the Village Vanguard continued to stay true to its roots, offering the best in jazz, and remains arguably the only of the original jazz clubs to remain constantly in business. To that end, one of the most intriguing aspects about the Village Vanguard is that in terms of both the interior and exterior, over the decades there have been almost no alterations, and a majority of the club's regular patrons adore the club for that exact reason. There's also said to be a certain sound and feeling inside the Village Vanguard that you can't find anywhere else, and there's no question that it remains the high watermark for success within the genre, as well as a highly desired place to record live albums. Whether it's the long list of jazz luminaries who have graced its stage over the decades, or the classic, unaltered environment that surrounds you inside, there's simply not another place in the world that can compare to the Village Vanguard.